Hello and welcome everyone to the 8th edition of Kit Concepts Office Hours. If you are new to the Office Hours and you might be asking yourself what it is, this is our weekly series when we have a guest each episode giving you new insights of flow, both software and community. This is the second part of the sec. Oh, sorry. This is the second part of the Beethoven Sprint Office Hours, where we will reflect on the sprint and share with you some insights, news, and what making a summary of what happened in there during the sprint. As always, every episode is live. Every episode is open, so you can go to YouTube, ask questions in there. It's a chance that you have on every episode to join the conversation. So yeah, if you feel encouraged, ask anything that you like. Write that in the chat, and we will try to get all the questions answered. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like if you want it, and let's go for it.
Yeah, Victor, that was indeed. This is the second part. So we did an introduction round the week before the sprint. We had the sprint last week, and what a sprint it was again. The how many sprint this was, because now I'm getting cautious because we had like many years of photo to celebrate. We found out that even Kit Concept itself exists for 10 years. And we have 10 years of photo development activity, I think. And we had between 25 and 30 people visiting our office last week. Fortunately, the weather cleared a little bit, so we could still also enjoy the outside. At the second part of the week, first part of the week was like real developer weather with rain showers and things. We went out for dinner every night somewhere in well-known or also new locations, which was really exciting. So yeah, we had a sprint. So for everybody who's now for the first time and didn't catch anything, so a sprint is something where a group of people from different organizations, different companies, end users, integrators, developers join to work together on a shared goal. And the shared goal here is the open source content management system Plone. And the Kit Concept Beethoven Sprint is one in a long tradition of many sprints all over the world where different organizations organize this all over the year. And we're now going to talk with at least the Kit Concept people who were there either in person or sprinted remotely to have a kind of a feedback and see, okay, what was going on there, what did we like, and also go into the details. Again, I will be a bit of the background nagging person if we go over time or subjects, or at least to keep a bit of the big role, the big picture there. We thought, okay, let's first do a round like we did last time. Who was there? What did you like? What did you see? What did you work on actually? What you really liked? Just do a little for kind of short personal feedback view from some of us first, and then we can in the second half again we can go into some nice nitty-gritty details on specific things that we worked out and flesh a bit more the subject there, what actually was discussed, pitfalls, small victories, whatever. So to have our first really remote person first, Jacob, you have excellent gear today on. And you were kind of our sprint master there, organized most of it. What went really wrong? No, or what went really well? Whatever you prefer now.
His connection goes wrong at the moment, perhaps.
Yeah. We cannot hear you, Jacob, right now. Yeah.
Fred, you're muted.
Sorry, yes, no, I was muted myself as well. You see chaos already. Your audio is not working, at least for me, Jacob. Then we'll switch to David now because he is audible for me.
Yeah, so there's lots of work that was done on 7, which is the new front end that's being developed to be part of Plone 7. But I wasn't so much focused on that. I came in working on the Volto 19 release, which is the one that's just now out, and we'll probably say more about that. The new Volto 19 and Plone 6.2 release was made during the sprint. But there's always the things that you come into the sprint planning to do, and then the things that just sort of happen. So the thing I was planning to do was some cleanup on Volto merging PRs that have been waiting for review, that sort of thing. And I made some good progress on that. But the thing I wasn't planning on was that my colleague Jonas was very interested in working on adding support to the REST API for serving content as Markdown to help AI agents get access to content in Plone. So we made some good progress on that one as well.
There we have the greetings from our other colleague Erica, who moved already back now home. He is hopefully still joining us maybe a bit later today, or a day later today in this hour, but he just sent the message anyway now already. Rohit, are you know Rohit is not? Yeah, Rohit, you work
Yeah,
remotely?
yes. Hey, hi everyone. Rohit this side. I attended the Between sprint online. So this was the third Between sprint, and it was the full of learning and fun. And basically, I work on the seven issue and the all the UI and UX issue. Yeah, that's it.
And as I understood from Victor, also during the week we have a lot of issues and things planned still for 7 to go to. Next, let's switch to your brother because he's not visible. Alok, you are with us in audio?
Yes, I guess.
Yes, there
Uh,
you are. Hey,
okay, can you hear me?
yes, we can hear you, but the video is not well. Ah, there you are. Yes,
Yeah, it's working.
yeah, works fine. So
Okay,
your impressions, your first personal impressions from the sprint because you were there in person.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so this is like I'm joining Beethoven Sprint for past 4 years, I guess now, or even 5. But this is my first like in-house experience in Bonn, like first time visiting the Beethoven Sprint. Uh, uh, it's a lots of fun and learning as usual. As you mentioned, Fred, like we have some karaoke night with some Indian songs, right? Like if you are present there, like you can see that like we have some videos, but we might not share it. Okay, so yeah, it may be personal. Okay, so what we did into the sprint, like I really planned working onto the a very small issues into the 7, which needs to be there so that like anybody can try it and make it running. So there are some small issues regarding the image blocks, teaser blocks, back end, like back button, save button, edit button, and some problem with the object browser widget. Okay, so what I did is like I went through all of them, created the PR, make it mergeable, and now it's merged. So I think that we really made a good progress regarding the UI UX issue of the 7, and now anyone can start working on. At least they have the starting point so that they can start and make a simple website from the Clone 7, and it is working from the start. So yeah, I think that's what my plan.
Yeah, I very politely declined almost collapsing on a Thursday evening and still having to pack stuff and everything up with a Friday. So I kind of bailed out. And I know one of us here said, "Yeah, yeah, I'll be coming soon as well." And we we were in the same hotel, but I didn't see him before I went off to bed. So yes, the karaoke was really contagious. I know, but I must say, I almost collapsed on Thursday evening. Also, no, I want to do some Friday. I escaped there.
It was sort of the so good it's bad experience in terms of the audio equipment that we had. We were doing some makeshift things with the Discord audio tests, so the the amplified audio was a little bit delayed from when you were singing, which made it an extra challenge.
It's a bit like we're here when we have indeed people on different distances that you sometimes have to wait a bit. Yes.
Yeah,
you
it was
that
just
doing
like
in
the
one
normal
room.
talking to you guys.
Yeah. Did we mention that this was also, of course, the Hacking Pizza evening before, where everybody did lightning talks or attended them. So, and then the late night event was indeed this one. Danto,
Yeah,
more secrets to unfold from this Thursday evening, or other general things?
It was great though. Like no secret, but it was great, and I think more than a few people from the community might have a bright future if they ever wanted to go into music. So that was fun to know. Yeah, no, it was great. I was very impressed. I was just out of the office for a few minutes. When I came back, they had organized a full karaoke with a light show performed by Rob and like a whole audio setup, a microphone. I was very impressed. I mean, I don't know why, because I know these guys and I know what they're capable of. But it was awesome. Huge fan. Other than the karaoke, I thought it was very interesting hearing so many AI related topics in comparison to last year's sprint, which there were already a few ones, but I feel like this year it was a more definite interest community wide on the whole AI paradigm, which we ended up also having a really nice conversation about how do we envision AI, how do we define it? Like it's a very common term these days, so we had a good conversation about what does that mean for us and what steps to take to kind of unify all these efforts around the technologies for the community. So that was one of the highlights for me. I wasn't very involved with the new stuff. I was more taking care of the current stuff. So I got to spend some time adding documentation and a little bit of refactoring. So yeah, it was really great. I felt like I accomplished things that I usually cannot, and yeah, getting to see everybody is always warranty of a great time for sure. I'm a big fan of the Beethoven Sprint.
Thank you. Yeah, doing the I said this myself before the planning. Like you plan stuff and then you do completely other things, but in the end you'll manage a lot of stuff, and it's like the feeling you get afterwards, looking back, like, hey, yeah, we did accomplish a lot. And also this year, I myself also I got satisfaction from the things I did but did not plan. Yeah. Tisha, you were remote as well. What was your impression from the sprint, and what were you able to work upon? Because yeah, you couldn't participate in the karaoke and other things, but you did join us every day for the stand-ups and the
Yeah.
wrap-ups.
So karaoke was fun, but don't people. I'm not sure if I'm audible right now. Am I? Yeah. I lost.
Yeah, we can still hear you partway, so I think it's fine. The audio will also be merged later. So, but indeed, we have the internet is not favorable to us today.
And there she disappeared.
Yeah. That's sometimes, unfortunately, it's not always the nice float. Okay. Well, Victor, you have been
Hey.
saying in the beginning, I'll just help anybody this week with whatever questions they have on 7. Did it go like planned?
Exactly. Yeah. I basically my job was to be available for everybody and to try to be here and there, answering questions and directing people to the right implementations and yeah, trying to figure out things and how to in general go into the right direction with everything, because we have some things that are not still written, some patterns, some decisions that are still in this community general knowledge, but it's not, as I said, not written anywhere. So trying to point people to places and Also, I worked myself in a couple of things that I wanted to get done. For example, I am very interested in the NIC, making NIC work as an embedded library for 7. And we are almost there. We are trying to figure out a couple of things still, but it looks good already. I worked also in cookie clone templates for Nick. So yeah, still very experimental, but it looks already well. And overall, I'm super happy with the outcome of the sprint. And yeah, I think that we are in the right directions, and we advance a lot these days, and decided a lot of things that had to be decided. We can talk about this a little bit later, and yeah, and I and for me, it also was. I had a great time because, as any other sprint, every sprint wants to have something special and out of the keyboard, right? Away from keyboard. This time I joined bouldering, and I enjoyed very much. It was my first time Rob organized with Jonas and Timo. Yeah, going there and spend some time. So we had a great time in there. Hopefully we will repeat next time. And I am encouraging also other sprint organizers to do the same, because it's very refreshing, and after some days of just sprinting, to break a little bit and do something different. And the same for the karaoke, right? I mean, I think it's something that has to be kind of standard in all sprints, so we have fun at least one night. Yeah, with
I fear
hacking
so.
night, but
I fear so.
also fun. Yeah. So very looking forward
Yeah,
for
it
the
was.
next
It,
one.
Yeah,
it was.
in terms of
David.
in terms of the work on 7, it feels like for a long time we've been, Victor and Piero especially have been putting the frame in place of a house, the plumbing, the like internal stuff that you don't see in the end, and now it feels like we're finally starting to do a little bit more of the finished work, and it starts to look like something you can use as a content management system. There's still pieces missing, but you can start to see where things need to be added. So yeah, that's exciting to see.
Yeah, and it's also, I think they also added guardrails and tested some things and say, hey, look, this is really advanced, or this is a niche where we should not, because that's also a thing. We have so many things to support. And I think we also, Victor, you mentioned last week, we really need to start evangelizing the new technologies that are in this new React router module and the whole setup where we're actually streaming a DOM now instead of calculating it. But those are all things that even went over my head, because for myself also, I planned some stuff I have on this list. Oh, let's see what the actual things are. And then I did, of course, 3 or 4 other features. What I've also found interesting, so as Jacob did most of the plumbing and planning for the sprint itself, we had a few new restaurants included this year. It was also nice because I have this anecdote where last year I visited Bonn because of vacation through Europe with my partners, and I was suddenly the local restaurant expert on Bonn, and I was like, how did this happen? Oh yes, of course, I visited the city where we've had some sprints, and this happens to me now in multiple places, but also in Bonn now. But I was very happy to have a few new choices. We went to a Ukrainian restaurant one evening, who had very nice dishes and some nice wine as well. The pizza night went also very well, with now not only very delicious pizzas, but also delivered on time, which also has been kind of a trick before, where I think once we had to pick up the pizzas ourselves to get them still in time for people. But again, we had very nice dinners as well. We had great off time. We were able to visit. We did a walk to the botanical gardens when the weather started being very nice on a Thursday. So yeah, it must be another really pleasant sprint. Timo, last but not least, did you need Victor's help during the week, as he promised he would give?
Yeah,
he's not
I
listening.
sure
He's
did.
muted. I will mute him. So just go ahead.
Yeah, no, since I'm not that experienced so far, it was really helpful to be able to be there and have someone around or have multiple people around that were able to help you with everything. That because like it's not possible to have all that knowledge in like this whole clone thing for a year now. So yeah, that's it's really helpful to have people to talk to. Yeah, and then maybe what I've been working on was the image block in Seven, and yeah, that like took me the week. I've also had to do a bit of the and not organizational stuff, but sharing the food, filling up the drinks and stuff. So I helped Jacob a bit. Yeah, and it was a nice week. I can recommend it.
Yeah, that's also something we shouldn't forget because we, of course, we were now this time the host of the sprint, so quite a few of us also did the chores in between. Jonas was there every morning early, cleaning up already some stuff. Timo and Thomas also took care of the snacks and all the nice things that were found that I saw on the desks all the time and cleaning up. I said Jacob did most of the planning, organizing hotels, reservations. Me and Thomas took notes every morning and afternoon at the wrap up with summaries and things, which we will very thankfully shortly use for another purpose as well. I had the honor of fumbling again with some network equipment, which was a long time ago, and we actually held through most of the time, and I even became more flexible with the settings halfway and the end of the week. That kind of held. So yeah, it was a night, but as you see in the effort, and we of course we have been practicing this a little bit, but it's a cool stuff. And then, just before we finished our introductory round of telling, okay, what were your personal experience and things, Eriko has also joined us. Eriko, you're back again, home, or wherever home is, but on a quite
Yeah.
distance. So, very quickly, before we switch to the next part, your short personal feedback on what you experienced at the sprint, and you can also talk about karaoke.
Okay, not talking about karaoke. Whatever happens in karaoke, and I still do not know who Alice is, so you need to tell me. But it was great. It was really a great opportunity to plan things and make things happen, and especially for the things I've been doing when it comes to cookie plone and Repoplon, that was like the right place to be because I was able to talk to Philip Bauer, Mikael, and Alin, and of course all of you, the beautiful faces that I see on a daily basis. But talking to people from other companies and getting things done was really amazing for myself.
And not to point out, this was our sprint last week. There's now, right now, happening another sprint, which is now in the, I have to say it correctly, southeastern part of Austria, the Buschenschank sprint. David, where you actually have a connection, but Rob kind of suddenly dropped out.
Yeah, we've been trying to figure out the state of the internet here, but we have Rob and I from Kit Concept are here, and there's 2 or 3 other folks who were also at the Beethoven sprint and then made their way to Austria. I don't know if we can see out the window, but probably not. We're in beautiful wine country here, continuing the work on Plum.
Yeah, I couldn't make it to the Buschenschank sprint, but I did catch up quickly on the wine in another part of Germany where we had 2-3 days of vacation and then we went home. But yeah, indeed, there's some very nice wine areas, and this is still on my list. I really want to go to Buschenschank. But as you see, the follow up in the sprints is sometimes tight in the year. We cannot plan everything beforehand. So good luck there this week, and let's hope that your position where you're now still allows you to keep talking a little bit. And otherwise, you'll have to drag Rob maybe to your screen as well. Don't know where he is right now. So
And by the way, I
yeah,
need to add something to. Hello, Rob. I remember when they announced the both strings being back to back, and I said, "Man, that's terrible," and so on. And Paul Ruland turned to me and said, "No, that's great for people that cross the Atlantic." And I was like, "Yeah, I
Yeah, I
crossed the
wouldn't.
Atlantic, and it's not good." And then David proved me wrong. See?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't be coming for 2 sprints if I had to wait in between. I guess it's a long trip from Seattle.
and this reminds me of this strange shortcut that I didn't get for a long time. Your mileage may vary, but when I learned about it, but this is indeed both literally and figuratively. Your mileage may vary if you have to come from across the ocean to a sprint and have 2 of them. On the other hand, for some people, if it gets too long, they also have, of course, family obligations and other things, or like me, three birthdays in a row. And then, of course, you have to also adhere to your personal schedule, which is why we tried our best again, also this sprint, to have a stand-up every morning and a wrap-up every morning where we include the remote sprinters. Apologies again to those who tried to connect and then sometimes the connection dropped off, or we have some pixelated effects just like here. But we do attempt with each sprint to also allow remote sprinters, and we were Git concept. The Git concept was no exception there. We try to get to keep and get everybody on board. So those were some personal remarks, personal reflections, things we worked on. Now, just like last episode again, let's go to the second part of this Alphas Hours and go a bit more in detail on some things that we worked on. We pre-selected a few subjects, of course. If anybody online following this has something to request, they say, "Oh, but he is there, she's there. Let's talk about. Can you ask them?" We can also jump in. I'm keeping an eye on the public chat. So yeah. Because you were last, Erico, you get the honors first. One of the things we selected, which I think is really interesting and important to talk about, because it allows integrators and Plone supporting companies to use Cookie Plone on a much nicer and deeper level, where they can actually override some of the Cookie Plone things, or actually append specific configurations later. So I had at least reserved a spot for you, and if you weren't there, I would have taken the honors of just introducing it. The template extensibility in Cookie Plone. You really got this further. You got feedback from people. I had to wait sometimes way longer than normal for an answer for you, because we were, no, I'm in this now. I need to fix this edge case. Tell us more, because this is really cool stuff what happened there, and was really a good, also I think, example of collaboration between integrators.
Yeah, we've been hearing and for quite a long time that okay, we have now the canonical way of creating projects is Cookie Plone, but you know the setup of Cookie Plone, the templates we have is not perfect for my company, and so on and so forth. And Mikhail at Code Syntax had their own solution to basically run Cookie Plone and run something else on top of it. And Aline also needed something similar, and we started working on that on the Bucharest sprint a few months ago. And my daughter wants to say hi. Say hi. Yeah. So basically, we started that. We planned everything, but we had to finish, and we decided to wait until Beethoven sprint. So Mikhail would also be there, and we started implementing. And honestly, I was not expecting it to go as well as it did, because okay, we had some ideas about how it would work, and then Mikhail came with a bunch of new things, implemented lots of features both on Cookie Plone and also on the forms library we use, TUI forms, and I keep receiving pull requests in there. So thank you, Mikhail, for that. And the whole idea is the following: if you fork Cookie Plone repository to your own company, that organization, that was already possible, because you just say you point to that repository and it would work. But then the
You're on
templates
your
keep
own.
be yes, and the templates keep being updated and so on and so forth and so on and so forth, and merging this would be a nightmare. When most of the times what you need is, oh, my CI is not Git is not going to be GitHub, but it's going to be GitLab or Jenkins or whatever, or I need to have a different way to deploy stuff. That being said, we came up with a mechanism that you create a new repository on your organization. It could be private, it could be public. For instance, Kit Concepts 1, it's private because we wanted to test that. Like, how does it work with a private repository? It's working. And Code Syntax has one that's public. It also works. You basically say, I'm inheriting from the cookie clone templates on that branch specific. And then in my place, I basically, in my template, I say, I'm adding a new template, or I'm overriding part of a existing template, and it's your call. Both of them work. Or I'm overriding part of the questions from an existing template. So everything is kind of supported right now, and it's working. It's documented. I know it's strange, but we have documentation about this. And our goal is by the end of this week, when Bush and Shank wraps, we want to be able to basically make a cookie clone 2.0 release, merge cookie clone templates, the next branch to be main, and that's how we are going to work from now on. We are probably going to record some kind of video or tutorial about how you can have your own templates and stuff, but in general, everything is there, everything is documented, and you can test that right now. Of course, I do not have the right command in here, but it's UVX space dash dash preview space allow space cookie clone, and things are probably going to work, right? It's you can pick a version, but there's the pre-release equal allow there. So it works, and it's quite impressive. And of course, if you want to point somewhere else other than your on the public one, you can. And by the way, last week during Beethoven Sprint, I decided, oh, but it's a pain in the ass trying to. Every time I'm going to run something that's for Kit Concepts to create to add environmental variable. But then I was reminded by the old me that we have some good friends in the community that use Nix, and I heard they had a solution called Dear Env or something like this.
Yep.
That basically, okay, every time I enter my work area for Kit Concept, tada, cookie clone already points to the new one, to the Kit Concept template. So that's quite nice. That was basically what I did the whole week. I also tackle other small things like releases of collective person and contact behaviors, and we have a final release of PyTest Clone. We have PyTest Clone version 1 that now lives in the Clone organization, not in collective. We have Repo Clone 101 already, and it was quite a productive sprint. I just apologize for not being able to deliver on my promise of having a decent documentation for both PyTest Clone and for Repo Clone, but it's coming in the following weeks.
Yeah. And I opened them already before, because this is the one I also didn't get at the beginning. We have cookie clone and we have cookie clone templates. And for
That's
both of them, you're going to now release major versions, or for one you've already did. And this is where I got lost a little bit. So we have the templating application tool is cookie clone itself. For this, you are creating a new major
Yes.
version that has support for sub-templates, validation of the stuff you enter before a
Inheritance
project.
and
It
extending and so on.
replace stuff. Everything is in here. And here, for example, you also see if you want to configure it, you can set a different cookie clone repository prehand, which is then set like this. And the exact direnv is a good one. Then indeed, if you go into a subdirectory, you can say automatically, if I go to this project, then set cookie clone repository to something else.
Exactly.
And that's the second part. But the second is where all the other work is also still happening, is cookie clone templates, which also now has a 2.0 coming up, where we indeed approve.
Take a look at there's a branch called next.
Yes, there we are.
Yes, that's where the development is actively happening, right? And this is basically the what's going to be on main soon. But we also have tag release if you want to. Okay, I want to play safe.
Yeah.
This is not true anymore. We have a nicer interface now.
Ooh.
Because now you first, on cookie clone to 0, you first select, what I want, a project, an add-on, or documentation, or something else. But then inside project, you have a Plone 6 project, a Plone Classic project, a Plone 7 project. So you have freedom to pick up this stuff and extend if you want. Okay, people, really nice talking to you. But as you see, I'm kind of mobile here today, and I have to go back to my other hat, like the full-time dad.
Thank you for showing up, Erico. Otherwise, I'd have to stand in for you, but you can, as no other, introduce the thing you're working on.
I think everyone would be better off if you did that, but yeah, let's go. Take care. Live long and prosper.
Thanks,
by
man.
the way.
See you around. So that was indeed something where even I found another small bug and was able to convince Erico he now really needed to look at it, because somebody else already mentioned it to him, and he was like, yes, I'll have to look at it. And then it happened to 2 other people at the sprint. I forgot what it was. It was some kind of, in cookie clone itself, I think it was something. So, cookie clone, that was one of the many things that we worked on. Anyone else? Subjects to discuss further?
Can I share some 7 thingy?
Sure.
Like,
bring it on.
Yeah, so as I said earlier, like we really plan 7 to be turned out to be a good starting point for everyone. So we have a small team, like pretty small team, like Thomas, Timobi, Thomas, he is still not there, but we have a colleague called Thomas, and Franco also. And we make a small team. We went through all the discussions, like what is missing, what is not there. And then we make a pretty good plan, like who is going to achieve what things. And we really achieved lots of things into regarding the 7th EI, regarding the UI. We merged lots of PRs regarding from image block by Timobi, having a contradiction with the online sprinting with Rohit. That's one thing you also get it from online. So you have to present into the sprint, right? That's one of the things. And then also like achieving certain things like the image block is now there. PR is open by the Timobi and it's almost like 99.99% complete. We already have a very good working teaser block there. Regarding the ads edit section, now edit section works perfectly fine for each and every pages, which was earlier not. Going from the back of the content, that's also work from a particular pages. And also like login, log out, all those things are works perfectly fine. So we really push all those small changes which we needed to push into this sprint. We really achieve all those things now with the green tick, and I think that now once again we have to be a strategic sprint where now we want to push the certain features now which we wanted to implement into the 7, because all the low goals or good first issue are done into the 7 branches here.
Now that you mentioned 7, so there was also something for me that went a bit over my head, but I think you can also, or I think Victor, So we have some things now that we develop in 7 that we can also reuse again in Volto, and some stuff we develop in Volto we can still use in 7. Okay. Anyone with
Yes,
more
that's
experience or what's up there?
yeah, that's the whole idea. With time, we realized that things that we are developing in 7, they were really portable, right? I mean, we could um, port everything that we do in 7 to Volto in a quite easy way, because we are now in Volto 19. We have also Plum components in core. Plum component is the basic library that we built based on React Area components, which is the React library of components of choice for 7. So we have it in both places. That means that the baseline of everything that we do in 7, it can be backported to Volto, and the other way around as well, right? So if from now on, if we do something in Volto and we based everything that we do in there to be generic enough to be ported to 7, it can also work. I mean, at the end is React, right? In both sides, so both can pull off each other, and this is very important because as long as we continue working on 7, we could backport those nice things and the new views and the new components to Volto itself also. And the other way around can happen as well. So it's not that it's in only one direction. And I think this is a very important to highlight that we are working in both sides at the same time, benefiting each other at once, right?
Mm-hmm. We also had a naming competition, which was interesting. But like you said, we're working now on both parts at the same time. We're still improving Volto because it's in wide use, and people are depending on that. Organizations are depending on that. But we also have the 7 project now, which is still a branch on Volto, and this is, I think, what caused us to consider and organize. It will not be a definite here, but we had a kind of game led by Rob on Thursday, where we were kind of pitching and brainstorming and doing a small beauty contest selection at the end of the evening for a new name of 7. And one of the technical things is, I think, what you just said. Volto is now a repository under the Plone organization of GitHub, and then we have there the 7 branch. But you explained to me last week we're not going to merge 7 into Volto, so we need a new place for 7.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I think.
Oh yeah, please go ahead.
Just, I mean, the way this
Yeah.
sort of evolved was that we originally envisioned, we're going to replace and update some things, and it'll be the next version of Volto. And then as we worked on it, we gradually realized that actually there's enough that's changed in the JavaScript community that actually it's kind of a new thing that we're creating. It'll be the evolution. There will be a migration path to it, but it's using Vite, and it's using Plone components, and it's using React Router 7, and it's not just a small update. And so as a result, it sort of now feels like it's something with its own identity that maybe should live in its own repository with its own issue tracker and be a little bit more separate than it has been. But that presented us with the challenge of what do we name that repository, and we thought it was maybe the right point to reconsider the code name 7 and call it something else. So, Victor, if you want to say more about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, you summarized it very nicely and complete. Yeah, only mention that the Rob led the process of choosing a name in a very democratic way. So it rolled like this. So we put post-its in a wall. Everybody could contribute with a name, and then on Thursday on the hack night, everybody grabbed a small sticker, one at a time, and then people were voting, and then we did several rounds until 3 names stand out, and we managed to choose from one of the three. It was a tough competition, to be honest, and hard to choose. But finally, we kind of reached an agreement. We were lucky enough, Piero and I, to have the final say, and I hope that we don't let you down with this one. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, a little bit of drum rolling, but yeah, we chose the name Aurora. So the new repository will be called. In fact, it's already created, but it's still empty. Maybe you can show already, Fred, if you navigate there. Go to github.com/plone/aurora.
It is okay.
Because it's not the same being told or read it in the screen. But it will be named like that. So finally, the package will be @plone/aurora. We will start moving things over
Yes,
when,
there it is.
yeah, mostly when the Bushenshain sprints end. So we merge all the remaining PRs, and then we will move everything to this repository and probably make an initial release out of it. And yeah, and you could find the former 7 application in this repository from now on. Yeah, let's see how it goes. By the way, we need a logo, right? We need kind of visual identity in there. I mean, we are open for any contribution. We did some trials asking AI for it, but none of them was so successful. So probably we will need more professional and non-AI driven proposal, so we are open for that. Yeah, anything that you can suggest will be welcome. I don't know if anybody else wants to add something to that.
So I can share. I can only do some blend in here. So this is
awesome.
halfway the voting. We voted with dots.
Yeah.
Yes, and Victor.
There were many more suggestions than that.
Yes, there were even more. This is halfway.
The
The front, the lower part of the door was also covered with suggestions, and here we see Victor getting the final selection after counting all the dots and things in the end, where he's still looking half pleased. Let's put it that way. But it was also at the end of a well-known hacking evening with pizza and some beverages and other things, and the lightning talks as well. Yeah.
Yep.
So let's remove those again, and
I think it's also worth mentioning. You know, it's still to be determined to what extent this becomes part of the marketing that we do around Plone 7. Like the main point here is we have this specific implementation. We need a name for it. We need a name for the repository. It's more maybe a internal technical name, but we can figure out the details around that later.
Yep.
Yes, this is one of those many discussions that we had during the day, but also at night over a beer or some food, where indeed we need a new component now. We need a new Git repository. It needs a name, and naming this one Volto or with a version number, and this is also one of the things where the 7 internal component is a bit unfortunate because it's a number, and that it ties us also up to numbering schemes. But it is still an internal component, just like Volto is also halfway an internal component that became a half of a brand, but it's still the front end and not the whole stack, which is indeed a kind of a conundrum that we still have to figure out. I think this year with many others in the Plone community, how we're going to continue here. Yeah.
I'm thinking of it like the name for a model of a car, right? You have the company that makes the car, which is one name, and you have a specific model, which is another name, and this is, a name that will be with us for this thing for a while, and then maybe we have another name for another thing.
Yep.
Fred, you should say something about plone.org.
Yeah, I could say something about Plone.org. So indeed, like when we did 2 weeks ago what you work on, I didn't mention it, and after we did the round, it was like, oh my, if somebody now reads this, that they can pick me up tomorrow. Like, "Hey, you also promised you were," and indeed, so last week Rieke Pekka was there. Rieke Pekka is now on the board. Until last year, he was also head of the marketing team. We already had a lot of discussions there. He worked on a lot of the content plans, and he is the kind of the step forward as the more general project manager for getting us a new shiny version of Plone.org. I assisted him last week, where I finally had some time available and reserved that for setting up the environments. We're going to set up a full, nice, new, completely separated environment for Plone.org, which internally we also call Next as the project name, just like the next version in Cookie Plone, which is like the fortunate bridge to. Indeed, I already used CookiePlone 2.0, the pre-release, with the pre-release of CookiePlone Templates 2.0 to create a repository. We created a dev environment, we created a testing environment, and I'm almost there, hopefully this week somewhere, to also have the kind of first pre-production environment ready, which is the whole internal stack is fully CookiePlone, nothing else. We will eat our own dog food here, as they say so politely. What I added was the kind of the sauce and the things that we use on the Plone Foundation servers to do the CI and CD a bit more automated and to our tuned to our serving platform. So that's now in there. We are up to the testing environment. I also had to move the testing environment to testing stable, and that's one of those nice tasks that I also perform as admin team member. So that was mainly my work this week. But this is also, we are doing really things nicely in parallel now, where we also discussed some changes we need to make to our live webs or our public websites based on privacy issues that we found, and also on some kind of best practices that we figured out over the last years. It was really cool. Once the repository was up and running, Karel Kalic started working on the theming, which has already been in the works and planned and designed in the last 2-3 months with the next Plone.org upgrade project. So those things are also going in parallel. Design, building up the stack. Next is that we will need to look at some add-ons that we've been using in several other places as well, which we also need to return back. So that was also indeed a bit of the grunt work. On one side, internal discussions on, hey, do things match and how do we go back from a project management point of view. Now we're going online again for a few weeks, and then I think maybe even on the Bushy Chunk sprint there will be some effort also on this regard on Plone.org renewal. And then we could also continue it again at the next sprint in 2 weeks as well. But like I said, there was next.plone.org, which we kind of initialized. Also, some people made releases. Maurits made the final 6.2 final release during the week. People synced at the sprint, both with people there, but also remote on the messaging on Plone.org with a news item that was thoroughly reviewed and updated and improved and fine-tuned by several people.
Yeah, how can we forget the release? And yet there's 1 or 2 conversations I've had this week where people said, oh, I didn't even realize that we had the final version of Plone 6.2 and Volta 19. So yeah, that it almost feels like an anticlimax at the end because you work on it for so long, and the change at the end is just pressing a button to say, yeah, what we already did is good enough.
The fear is almost like, did we miss some small part here or something else? But so we also discussed last week, I don't know if it's a keeper, but we kind of did a soft release during the week where Maurits and synced with Victor, and we announced the technical Everything's There release on communityplone.org, where we have a lot of people in the community catching the news day to day. And then in parallel, the news item was further discussed with people from the roadmap team as well, and with others to fine-tune the news item. And the news item should have been published, I think, at the end of the week. But some people were already traveling to Bushenshank, And of course, the release has been there for. We have 2 release candidates now, beta of or alphas we've had. So yeah, like you said, it's a bit of an anticlimax when everybody has been doing all improvements and work in the last year, I think at least, on getting the Plone 6.2 final.
And now
But it
we
was
already
there.
have work being done this week at Buchenshank on Bone 6.3 and some new branches being created for improving how things are factored out in the back end and so forth. So never a dull moment.
Yep.
Also,
And thanks to everybody that contributed
Yeah,
during the
go ahead.
last year and a half, right? Yeah, that led to the success and led to this release, right? I wanted to mention that because it's also important to thank everybody who contributed. Yeah.
did we break the 0 thingy? Like we still having 6.2.00 and 19.00, or did
I
we
think
already
so.
surpass it?
No,
We
I
haven't
think
made a new patch release yet. There's a couple issues that have been fixed, so we should at some point, but nothing big.
Uh, but like Victor said, I think it's something we should not take for granted, and is indeed quite a bit of an accomplishment when, as a community, you are both supporting a stable, very sound 6x, 6.2, now planning for 6T release, and at the same time, people are also modernizing and going the next big step, which will be is now called the 7 project, but will continue for quite a bit to get it indeed in an even more useful state. But doing those at the same time and guaranteeing this, I think, is not a small feat that we're accomplishing with many people and many organizations in the Plum community, which is again hats off to everybody. So, few minutes left if you want to stick to the 1 hour mark. Dante, we could go into the AI subject again because we did a lot of thinking and talking, kind of on most or more of the basics of what would do we, because this was really important, and it sounds really like an open door, and also a bit like some people said afterwards about the Stellenbosch sprint, where we talked Plone communication and marketing strategy after many years, where we came up with things where even people would say, yes, but that's the Plone community, that's obvious. But also last week we had a few very intense discussions on AI, where basically the first premise was, but what do you consider AI in Plone, using it to create content, using it to create the information structure, using it for improved search, I think. And now I need to get from my memory because I made the notes for you, but I didn't look back. But we had like half an hour to 40 minutes of like disentangling the different uses already.
Yeah, I think that was the first thing we all agreed on, that this AI concept and topic has many, many fronts, from governance and what does it mean for its usage for the community as a whole, and then what does it mean for editors and end users, and what does it mean for developers. And all these parts are essential for the community, and they mean different things. So what we focused on was defining AI as the usage of LLMs in the assistance of tasks, whether that is with content management or editing, or with the actual development of the tool. So that was one of the first things we landed a common ground around. And then we realized that, taking again the analogy David was using about a house, like building a house, what we agreed on is that the important part right now maybe was to set up the pipes, the water pipes, and maybe the ceramics and the sinks and so on could be as add-ons depending on what people actually are planning on building around it, because there are so many features and so many ideas, all of them interesting and valid. So it would be
And
great to have a common starting point.
you see it already in the community. Different companies are building their own solutions that integrate specific LLMs in specific ways to do specific things, and I think that's great, and like the way things have to be right now, just because there's so many possibilities, and it's a time of experimentation the way it was for JavaScript frameworks a decade ago, or Python form libraries 2 decades ago. And what we sort of came to was, let's not try to be too prescriptive yet about what should be in Plone Core, but let's try to make sure that Plone Core is equipped to make it easier to build whatever specific solutions you might want to. I don't know if you want to say more about the effort that was started to do that, Dante.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. That is basically what we concluded, and this took shape of a collective add-on. I think is collective minus no, not minus. Sorry, dash collective dash AI, and it's proposing the first version of this LLM connections, which is a very basic thin layer in which you can register all the different LLM APIs that you might need, and then you can add tags to it so the add-on knows which one to use and so on. So again, very thin and just kind of proposing the basic first steps for whatever the entire community wants to build on top of that in terms of features. Very exciting for sure, and it's great to see that we are setting a direction for the community as a whole. That's awesome.
Yes, like and we also what I heard last week also, it's not a shame that we keep this in add-ons for a while. I mean, of course, there's a delicate balance in having things in core where everybody knows, this is at least how I can get information on the plumbing. Where does the sewer go to? Where can I connect? Where are the LLMs? That we have some things there, but we can develop those in the beginning as an add-on. Have the basic plumbing there. See what integrators, what developers can build on top of those things, but at least have some facilitation there. And then we can see when it ends up in core. But we've had some really beautiful big add-ons that never made it to core, but everybody still installs in many Plone sites, like our forms library and add-ons. For example, we have quite a bit of image galleries where we always said, okay, don't do too much in the core system, because what turns out very quickly is that people will need specific features. But of course, the whole plumbing, like image generation, scaling, and whatever, is what's been in core forever. And every image gallery kind of uses as soon as it needs an image. That's the analogy I see there, even though I'm not too deep in the technical aspects of the AI integration yet.
Yeah, and building it as an add-on can help just keep the architecture clearly separated, where you have something like this that, there's many people who want to use it, and there's some people in a situation where they can't use it, or we want to make it so you don't have to install a bunch of heavy dependencies just to use this feature that you don't need in some cases. So yeah, the add-on architecture of Plone makes that sort of thing easy to do.
Yeah.
Easy to be flexible.
Yeah. Indeed, using AI for tasks. So what we did, we have like every sprint, we had an extensive sprint document. We made notes of what people said on the start up and stand up and wrap up every day, including road sprinters. And then for this meeting, we ran the kind of AI summary on top of it. So we had a huge list. So we saw now also together the things we are not, we don't have time for today. Do want to mention one more thing. We had lightning talks where we were much more lenient to ourselves, so we didn't do the 5-minute time bashing, so people could actually do it for 5 or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, which went really well. Just want to mention a few things because we didn't do it right now. We had Mac present us a style guide for writing consistent English strings for Plone translations, which is dear to my heart because, again, Maurits and me did a really quick. Okay, we speak Dutch, Maurits again. Let's do a quick cleanup of the Dutch translations before the final was there. And I think he also made a request to other people doing the languages there. And we were, one string used 4 times with only some slight capitalization. And that points out again, and Mac presented this style guide now. If you have a consistent English strings, then that helps you so much already for doing all the translations and also keeping them stable. So Mac contributed this guide based on his work he's been doing since last year on translations. Maurits did a small lightning talk on SOAP maintenance and highlighting the need there for people who are, if they're fluent in C extensions, that they assist a bit. Mikko Otama presented a really cool AI development tool that manages work lists and shows and also explained to us work trees, a feature in Git I didn't know myself about until one of the AI assistants forced it upon me 2 weeks ago, but he explained it very nice, where work trees are now a nice of, where you can have multiple checkouts of branches, but still have one Git story stored there. Maybe we should just do an office hours later.
That was also Piero telling us about that.
Piero told us later as well. Yeah, that's indeed. Sorry. Yeah. Piero explained the work trees later. Alex showed us about enlightening talk about generating docs as well with AI, and also especially the skills and the prompting that you need to be aware of what's happening there. So those were also very informative things that kind of popped up on the Thursday. I have to wrap up again. I have to time box myself. Not easy, so I've already let myself go over for 5 minutes. Closing words. Anybody up for this today?
I can
Anything?
go.
I think we can keep it short. Just thanks to everybody who gave their time and energy to making Plone better, making our community better, and participated in the sprint.
Yeah, and encouraging people
I think
to
we can all
join
agree to
next
that.
sprints also, because it's a great experience. Great, even if you are a first timer. I mean, you surely won't forget it, and it's a lifetime experience. And if you will be very welcome, and yeah, so we can all contribute, making Plum better and move it forward to a bright future.
Yeah, and hopefully next time I would love to attend in person.
Awesome.
So I really hope also for people going to Bushenshank this week or next week again that we also carry over the subject that we will discuss. Like we said, you discuss something at the sprint with the people who are there. You build on existing documentation. Please continue also the naming game for things. Maybe there still comes a better name pop up at the Bushenshank sprint, or they can do their own naming contest. But also on the AI subject, on the release roadmap stuff that we had, we are an online, offline community. We organize offline, online things. So really hope that these discussions also continue this week at the Bushenshank sprint, and then next in 2 weeks at the pole position sprint, and that we keep this nice mix going on. It was really a pleasure seeing people again in for real, attending with people, working with stuff that was already prepared beforehand. And I say yes. Thank you all again for this office hours. See you in 2 weeks, because we have a vacation period coming up, and we have quite a bit of tasks to do. We have people already also going on vacation. So to put a little bit less of pressure on ourselves, the next office hours will be every other week, which will we announce shortly, so that we also slowly get into a little bit of breathing space for, as we've seen now already, at least here locally, for a very nice summer in our offices, and also for ourselves and our colleagues. So see you in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for watching. Like us, etc. Whatever Victor already said in the beginning. And see you soon. Thanks for watching.
Bye.